Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Schifrin and chairing the planning board this evening, October 3rd, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. So I've called the meeting to order and I'd like to do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as always, we thank our veterans and we thank those who are serving now. That includes Ian. And there are no chairman's additions, deletions to the agenda this evening. And have we received any volunteer? No. Okay. So moving right along, we have a 6:45. Why don't I go to do you want me to address, just go to correspondence and do that? Because we have like 15 minutes.
However you want to do it, it's fine.
If it pleases the board, would you look at 4.7? Mr. Shank is here. Is it okay to do that? That's part of our correspondence. Okay. Okay. Mr. Shank, as representative.
Sure. My name is Kevin Conover. I'm from David Ross Associates.
Oh,
And what we're presenting is an A&R plan tonight for the creation of 3 parcels. There was a little confusion about the plan that was submitted previously. So I talked to Mike Crowley today in an attempt to kind of clean it up a little bit. What we're doing is we're dividing a parcel of land that was created off of a subdivision plan back in 2002 behind Madison Avenue. So the plan that I just presented to you is the plan we're presenting tonight. This plan is the parcel that was created at the rear of Madison Avenue subdivision back and approved in 2002. So our intention tonight is to redivide that parcel B as shown on the 2002 plan into 3 separate parcels. The only new lot lines we are creating are within the 3 parcels or within parcel B. I have a larger copy of the plan as well that I just kind of highlighted it just to kind of show you what we're trying to do. So again, the parcel was originally created in 2002, and we're dividing it to be created to some of the adjoining parcels. We're making notations on the plan of that all 3 parcels, parcels C, D, and E, are not building lots. They do not contain any buildings, and we're stating where they're going to the adjoining parcels. So I tried to highlight in yellow the extent of what we're doing, and then in the green, the red, and the blue are the separate parcels that we're creating. On the plan, it's we're showing existing property lines, we're showing proposed property lines, and I'm making a denotation of each one of those. So according to section 81P, we're looking for A&R approval tonight for the creation of these 3 parcels.
is that how that works? Isn't there a process? Okay, so what needs to be done? I mean, I understand what they're doing and they're not creating any other lots. They're just, it looks like they're subdividing and attaching to other adjoining lots.
That's exactly correct.
So,
as long as the board understands the plan that they're submitting, we asked for clarification on
Excuse me.
he was asked to redraw the plan so that it would be more clear. Yeah, I don't know what he was saying.
Well,
Should we do it?
sure, again, well, I can tell you exactly what we did in consultation with Mike Conley. We labeled, there was some concern about where the existing property lines were. So we labeled those as existing property lines. And those existing property lines are based upon the survey that was approved back in 2002. The other thing that Mike wanted us to do is just kind of designate where the proposed property lines. So we designated that in the lower portion of the plan with arrows designating where the property lines are. So we're just creating 3 parcels of land dividing a parcel that was approved by the board and recorded at the registry. That's all we're doing. We're not creating new frontage. We're not creating new building lots. We have the denotation on the plan that they are not building lots. Parcel C, D, and E are not building lots. And they're not building lots because they don't have any frontage. They don't have the required area in the town.
So why are you dividing them?
We're dividing because this parcel of land that was created back in 2002 is a large tract of land, and it's adjoining to several properties that Joe Shank's daughters own and that Joe owns. He's just going to convey it to the adjoining parcels, and that's all he's doing.
Okay.
So he's not creating any new lots, so to say. We're creating 3 parcels of land.
Well,
And the land is zoned what right now?
It's designated on the plan, I think it's RA.
What?
RB, sorry, RB.
And the third lot, parcel C,
Correct.
what's the intent of that?
That is going to be conveyed to this adjoining lot 1 here that was shown on a previously endorsed A&R plan.
And that would be like an access to those 2 other
It's
lots?
just, to be honest with you, it's just to create additional area to that lot.
To lot 1?
Correct. Similar to what this parcel will be conveyed to this one, which will create additional area to that lot. And this one will be conveyed to that lot, just to create additional area for the lot. But basically is a landlocked parcel of land that Mr. Shank is just owns, and
Right,
he's dividing it up to his daughters and himself.
right. I
And-
understand.
Oh, and this
Yeah.
is the mechanism to do it.
And parcel C is how wide is that?
So roughly 20 feet wide.
20 feet.
I think it's a little more than 20 feet.
Carol, do you have any questions?
no.
Mike and Ian, they don't have these documents, right?
Are you submitting a new plan tonight?
Yes.
You're submitting a revised?
Based
A&R
upon my
plan?
conversation with Mike, correct, yes.
And where is that plan?
It's in my hand.
Okay, so why don't we look at that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big, we'll have to look at that as well.
Sure.
So do you have it on PDF?
I do. I actually have it on the disc.
All right, so I could probably send it over.
Okay, while you're doing that, I apologize that I didn't do a roll call when we started the meeting. And since we have the full board with us, I would like to do that now. So Carol, would you start?
Okay, Carol Hofstas, present.
Robert Darian present.
Ian
Ian Ortiz is present.
and Michael,
Mike Verosco, present.
you, Laura Schifrin. Present.
Do you want me to send that over to them, or do you just want to continue it? Okay. Do that.
We have a few minutes. I don't mind addressing until we have the hearing.
Because I'm logged into my
Um,
desktop.
Mike Crowley, do you have any comments on this?
You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so I have been working with Joe and the engineer to make sure to get everything cleaned up and understand what's going on there. I know you had a specific question about that. I believe, I don't have the plan in front of me, but I think it's the small, long, narrow parcel. I think it's parcel C, if I'm correct. So for the district, you need to have 2-acre lot size in order to be a conforming lot for residents. If you look at the plans right now, the property that has Joe Shank's house on it, which is on the road there, is just under, like the original plot plan for that included an area just under. So he's just basically adding that long strip to the, ultimately, once it's divided, he'll come back and do the work with the registry to combine it, just to have enough surplus acreage to stay in conformance. And again, this is kind of a plan that, from what I understand, is just basically taking an interior lot and transitioning it to 3 interior lots for later conveyance. But this doesn't create any additional building lots because there are no frontages on the property.
That's exactly right.
Ian or Mike, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have no questions. I'm looking at the plan or the little map right now, and Yeah, it seems to be good. I don't have no problems with it.
Yeah, I have no questions.
Okay. If you guys don't have any further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the plan as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan as presented. For
I second the motion.
With a motion and a second,
Ian seconded.
any further discussion?
All I could say is if I was in position, I would be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Hearing no other discussion, I'll take a roll call vote, please.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Robert.
Ian Ortiz.
Go ahead, Ian.
Ian Ortiz, yes.
Michael?
Mike
Michael?
Verosco, yes. Sorry, was having
Okay.
problems unmuting.
Thank you. Laura Schifrin, yes. Okay.
Okay. Do you sign the plan tonight, or would that they have to come to the town hall to sign it?
Um,
To be that special pen or something.
I have a special pen. It's your call. It'd be nice if we can get it signed in, but if some of the members have to come in and sign, it's your call.
Okay, so I'll find out. There's only 3 of us here.
I'll just take these back.
Is that all that you would need, Mike? We have the roll call vote, but is it
Yeah, we
okay
have the
to
roll
just
call
sign-
vote. I think we do need all of the members to sign it. We should definitely get the folks that are present today to sign it if they are able to. Additionally, just a notice of decision will need to be written up and delivered to the town clerk, who will then transmit it to the assessor for updating the lots as well.
So Ian is serving remotely. He's not in state.
Okay,
Okay, so
Yeah.
he is not gonna, he can participate, but he can't sign.
I
So
I think you
get that.
just need the majority,
I think that the majority would do it too.
correct?
Yeah.
Or if
Ryan-
you need, I can swing by tomorrow morning and sign it, and give us, 4. If that's what's needed, I don't mind doing that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you'll have something else to sign as well. A little more on the agenda, okay, Mike? So we'll have 4 of the 5.
That's,
I think we're good with that.
I think that'll probably cover it because that's the super majority that is typically required for some things. And I mean, if there's, I'll verify tomorrow to make sure that there isn't a requirement for everybody. And if there is, we'll just figure out how to get the last person, but at least this will get them in good order. So,
Okay. All right,
all right, so I'll leave the plans and the copies here, and if you let us know when everybody signs it, or the 4 people sign it, and we'll come back and get it, okay?
yeah, I mean, Beth will know, she can tell you when Mike comes in, he'll be the 4th one.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
All right, so it's approved. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, notice of remote MEP consultation session, public hearing on the ENF Harbor Trace Water, oh, okay. If you saw in the under correspondence, this was there as a signed agreement. And Mike, do you have any information on that? On the water treatment plant, Harbor Trace?
just at this point, so it's being coordinated between the town administrator and the water department through Dave Vigent. There is going to be public hearings, as well as there's going to be several different types of iterations of things that need to get through the process, including like checking in with Conscom and things like that long before any construction comes forward. So there are going to be public hearings about it. I don't know if there's any scheduled at the moment. The timeline is not until I think late next year for full construction, but there's been a lot of comments about it. So there's just a process that's getting set up.
Did you guys approve it?
Yes.
Okay. Could we get it on the drawing?
Yeah, it's. And Michael will be in to sign it. The three of us will sign tonight. Okay, on the plan. And then Michael will be in tomorrow. And we'll have to do that other one that we were gonna do later. So let me just, it's 6:45 and we have a public hearing and nobody's here.
I mean, I did get confirmation that Mr. Loden would attend, but I don't, he's not here. so. That's interesting.
Well, I'm just gonna continue with our
And,
correspondence
okay.
until they come, or who comes. And then the next one's at 7:15, and if he's not here by then, he missed his public hearing.
Basically.
I mean, I don't open it with,
He has had, he did confirm that he was ready to attend and, I mean, I sent him.
Okay.
On Thursday.
all right,
He
so
confirmed.
let's try to get something else done, okay?
Okay,
All right, 4.2 is the stormwater permit project updates, inspection reports, other related correspondence.
Yeah, so that there's a couple of things in your packet under 4.2.
Oh, and while we're on 4.2, there was an addition. Oh, that's this is the
Yeah, but
stormwater.
that's all 4.2.
Oh, I see.
Things for updates if you wanna look them over. See if you have-
Again, this is just correspondence updates and Office of Land Use. I don't know, am I gonna say anything about that or not?
Was that directed at me, Madam Chair?
Yes, Michael.
Sorry, we have two Michaels and I really try to be like,
I
trying to
know,
read.
I know. We're just looking at, under our correspondence, your letter to the planning board.
Yes. So if I may just comment on that, in case you haven't heard the news yet, I am unfortunately going to be leaving Townsend and no longer in the land use coordinator role. I see some faces there that people aren't happy with the news, and that's okay. It's
No,
been an absolute.
we're not happy. It's
Not
like
at
the
all.
5th time I've heard it, though. We're not happy, no.
I know. We're just trying to do some planning for whatever time that there isn't a land use coordinator seated, which should be a very short timeline. The posting is already public. We're already selecting, open to applications at this time. And I know Eric Slagle, the town administrator, does not want to have a department without a department head for a very long time. So he's going to try and get someone in as fast as possible, as long as we can find the right candidate. However, in reviewing duties, stormwater management has several things in the regulations that specifically call out they need to be under the purview of the land use coordinator, specifically the receipt of stormwater management applications and the determination if they're major projects, minor projects, or the new category that the board created a few months ago, the non-applicable projects. And that's something that can't get handed down, it has to get handed up. And so that's included in there as just something that I wanted to call attention to the planning board. We don't get many, but it's just something else, unfortunately, that the planning board will have to just keep an eye on until we get a new land use coordinator. And then additionally, there are, I think, are 2 specific locations that were listed on that letter that are kind of outstanding. 27 Scales Lane, I think you are aware of. It's just been something we've been trying in the office to coordinate on, and it just takes it's a little more active in terms of what workload to get it directed as opposed to most other stormwater permits where they just do a great job of issuing the permits. The other one is 22 Ponderosa, which is, they haven't submitted the application yet, but I've been working with them. They're actually, after I sent you guys the letter, they called me an hour later and said, can we come in on Tuesday and meet with him? So hopefully we can get that sorted out. Once the determination is made with the complete application that it's a minor stormwater project, it actually is designated to the stormwater agent, which in this case is Jessica, the conservation agent. So you won't have any extra workload on that. It's just administrative process has to go up and down a little bit. And I just want to make sure that you guys know when it comes up, you're like, okay, this someone's looked at this and it can come back down. But those are the two items.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Still no applicants, so I'll go on to the next one. We have on September 23rd, we got a letter from Dillis and Roy, reference Wheeler Road. Property has transferred ownership. It is currently owned by Gary Shepherd by deed, recorded on behalf of Ambrose Corporation permit holder. We request an extension of the stormwater permit for 3 years. Please note any future requests will be made by the new owner. Do we need to act on this? Do we need to act on this, Michael?
No, we don't. They need to submit an application for a renewal. So I can send them a letter and ask them to do that.
They've asked
So
for an
they want to do-
extension.
For an extension.
They've
okay.
asked for an extension.
Okay, so that involves an
For 3 years.
application as well. for an
Okay,
extension.
and they know that we don't do that now.
Well, I can write them back, or, you know, we correspond to that and let them know that's what they need to do. They need to set, to fill out an application for an extension.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so I can do that.
So they just,
Or aren't they asking for an extension for 3 years?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. They're asking on behalf of Ambrose Permit, we request on behalf of Ambrose Corporation permit holder, we request an extension of the stormwater permit copy attached for 3 years. Please note any future requests will be made by the new owner. So this would be the same for everyone. If somebody has a permit that expires, they have to file a new application.
Mhm. It's for an extension of a permit, a renewal is what it is. And it's a abbreviated application.
Okay, I was gonna say, because it must be like the same thing, unless something catastrophic happened,
Right.
that would change it. Okay,
Exactly.
all right,
So,
you're
yeah,
just
It
gonna
is a
answer that.
process of application level, so I'll reach out and write a letter.
Okay,
So the question I have is the original application, which we're extending, is the new owner assuming the same application?
Yes, if they own the property and with it, they are, the new owners of the permit. So when the extension comes up for a hearing, which it will, just like any storm, anytime.
yeah, we've
you
had
renew a
them before,
permit,
yeah.
the name change can be changed at that time. So the new owner's name will be on the permit. After they file for the,
I'm
Extension.
just trying to think about this logistically.
yeah,
Um,
clerically.
Wouldn't the new owner be filing their own application? and
Yes.
He
permit?
says that that's what it will be.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
The engineer requests, excuse me, Beth. The engineer is requesting on behalf of
separate,
the,
right,
no,
no,
I read it as he's requesting on behalf of the permit holder.
right,
The permit holder is Ambrose Corp.
Mhm.
We request an extension of,
okay,
so the engineer on behalf of the permit holder is asking for the extension of the stormwater permit, copy attached, for 3 years. Please note any further requests will be made by the new owner.
Mhm. So the new owner needs to file an application, which is my response to this letter. That's the
Okay.
process. He
Right.
will need to file an application for a renewal. And the new owner will have to file it. The engineer can't file it.
all right.
So
just-
he can actually do the filing, but you can't,
Yeah, yeah.
He can do that part of it,
Okay.
but it has to be the new owner
Okay.
that
Okay.
signs it and endorses it.
Okay, so we all know about that now.
Yes,
And the next one is who's it from? Oh, Brett King. I'm reading that in the email. Our conversation, I'm checking to see where you are at the in terms of compliance with the terms of stormwater management. Which address is this for Brett King?
27 Scales Lane.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right, we talked about that. Well, you're
4.5.
responding to him, I guess, with
Mhm.
what, okay. 4.5
Yes,
is Townsend Planning Board will hold a public hearing on October 24th for the proposed amendment Townsend
that-
bylaw for chapter 145.
that's Mr. Lorden, right?
No. October 24th at 6:45 PM.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I couldn't quite hear you. Would you mind repeating that?
The public hearing that we're holding on October 24th at 6:45 on the special provisions for section 54(1) entitled Age Restricted Development. That's not Lorden. Lorden
No.
is tonight.
No, that's for.
This is for the bylaw,
That's
which
right.
is attached.
Right, okay,
Okay.
I got it, I didn't read that.
All right,
thing
so
yet.
that's an announcement. Okay, then do we have another one or is this the same one? I think I took out this of this.
No, what is that? We have a copy. Yeah, it's like you got two copies.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't need much to confuse me. So 4.6 is the Form J lot release. That this is the, I didn't. So we just have to do it at your meeting. Everyone can come in and sign. Everybody can come to my office, actually. Okay. Or to town hall, because Kathy and Jessica can have with notary as well. Okay. Is that okay with you guys?
Can I ask, what is a Form J lot release? What is that?
Okay, so this is Timberley Park.
That's my street, that's where I
And it's
live.
your street.
Alyssa Drive.
Yeah, so every time they had a sale, they needed to do this,
Okay,
right?
but I'm the last house that they built and I've been there almost 7 years.
Yeah, but you're not the last lot. They're not the last, she wasn't the last lot, I don't think. I don't know.
Well, I would be, wouldn't I be? Because I was the last house built in that development.
Well, this one is.
For Alyssa, this is for
Well,
Alyssa.
for Alyssa was like one of the first houses built, I think.
Maybe they didn't get their lot release.
Yeah.
Mike has his hand up.
And I bet you,
Oh, that's it, here you are.
Yeah,
If I
um,
may, this was an incredibly complicated one. So if you'd like a little walkthrough, I don't mind giving it to you.
well,
This threw me for a loop.
can't be now because our 6:45 just arrived.
Okay. But I can, when we get there, I'll help out.
Yeah, okay, I have to go to public hearing now. Okay, per our agenda, I'm gonna open now the hearing for 256 Main Street, amendment to the site plan review special permit planning board decision October 3rd, 2022. I'd like a roll call vote, please. The hearing is being opened at 6:59 PM. As that is time of arrival. Roll call.
Carol House is present.
Robert Darian present.
Ian Ortiz present.
Michael V.
Mike Verosco present.
Laura Schiffern present. There is a public sign-in sheet for those in attendance. And do I need to read this?
From the public hearing, yeah.
Okay. In accordance with MGL Chapter 40A Townsend Bylaw 145-42 Site Plan Review Special Permit and 145-65 Special Permits, the Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 3rd, 2022 at 6:45 PM in Selectmen's Chambers at Memorial Hall, 272 Main Street, and via remote access I'm not gonna read the address and the codes. To review an application received from Lorden Revocable Trust, Michael Lorden trustee, requesting an amendment to the site plan review special permit issued on July 18th, 2022 to Lorden Revocable Trust, Michael Lorden trustee, to remove a condition which states the 2 first-floor apartment units shall be age-restricted affordable housing, Assessors Map 51, Block 31, Lot 0. This parcel is zoned downtown commercial. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this application may do so at the hearing or prior to in writing. Copies of this application are available for review at Town Hall during business hours. Respectfully submitted, Laura Schifrin, Chairman. And then the publications. I will just repeat again that there's a sign-in sheet for those of you who've entered the room. You're in a public hearing, so we'll need you to sign in. Thank you. You're on.
I'm Tom Gustafson, Mickey Lorden. And we filed this because Mickey was really not aware that this was going to be a mandatory condition.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, please speak up.
Yeah, this is where the microphone is for those that are on the online.
Come right up
Thank you.
here. Mickey was not aware that this was going to be, he was aware that you were discussing this, but it would not be a condition of the approval of the permit when he was here before. And it is completely, it's very open-ended. It says it'll be age restricted. It doesn't say at what age. Does that mean like over 18? It doesn't say income level. Does that mean under $250,000 of income? There's no criteria. There's nothing to go with this. Number one.
It was affordable housing.
But
And
again,
were you able to view the meeting?
no.
Oh,
But again,
it's-
there's nothing in here that specifies. And there's no criteria as who's going to oversee who's living there. And secondly, there's nothing in the bylaws that would allow a condition like this. I mean, it seems to be very arbitrary, especially where there was one for 10 units across the street that was allowed only 2 months earlier with no condition on it. There's nothing about affordable housing for the 241, 247 Main Street site plan review special permit that was approved only 2 months earlier. And Mr. Warren, I mean, he'd be happy to speak with the housing commission. I mean, he's always rented locally. He's looking to rent to people. And I think he's already got some people.
That was discussed that night.
Right.
When Mr. Lorden was president, he had particular people in mind. And we had a vision of everything that was going to happen there. And the presentation was that the lower floor units were going to be handicap accessible. So those were all what was presented for his special permit. So I guess the confusion is what is the age restricted definition, I guess?
Well, not just that. I mean, that is part of it is, yes, it's very open-ended, and who would review these people? What is the income restriction? What is the age restriction? And why is it necessary for this particular project?
Well, I think the board envisioned that these handicap units would be used for people that were seniors or something like that, and that's where the age restricted stuff came in. In other words, there wouldn't be families and young kids there. So that was what we assumed to be true, and what Mr. Lorden was proposing to us. And it made a lot of sense. So we were.
I never proposed that.
No, you said senior housing.
No.
Well,
I have the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, here it says, the applicant stated This is in the middle here. The applicant stated the sprinkler system is being designed by a certified engineer. He further stated he is amenable to the requirement of the 2 units on the first floor housing
Correct.
55 plus senior tenants and outfitted as age in place. He stated that making the
Yeah,
front
That's what you
first
said.
floor apartment wheelchair accessible would be easy. It was noted that the first floor apartment in the back does have 4 steps at the entranceway. The chair consulted with the state representative with questions about the structure and process governing the requirements of 55 plus tenants and its relationship to affordable housing program.
Okay, I was amenable to it. You can't just have a meeting and then throw something like this at it after this gentleman spoke for about an hour on my dumpster and my lighting and my driveway and everything else. And then at the very end, and I said I would be amenable to it. This gentleman that was over here, he was already here to try to make this work. He gave me the number of a Jody and his number. I said I was amenable and I would talk to her. I talked to her the next day twice. She told me that it really wouldn't be something for me because I'm only 4 units and that you're looking to do 2 and that there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. Now I'm saying to myself, this is Jody. I'm saying to myself, this isn't something for me. I only have 4 units. You want to take the 2 on the bottom. Then there's another lady in the housing authority. I can't remember her name. She was going to call me. She didn't call me. I called Jody the next day. I said, Jody, I have not heard from this woman yet. She didn't call me. So I was amenable, yes, I was. And that's what I thought I was being amenable. And I made the calls. And then it's not, then it goes on my deed. I've owned the building for 40 years. I rent to housing, I rent to handicapped people. I'm recognized as a with the VASH program, which is for veterans, which I do a lot of. You feel free to call them. How is Mickey Ludwig? They'll tell you. They've given me a plaque as a housing hero because I look out for those people. But I don't want anybody. I don't want, and I would never agree if we were talking, Mickey, you're going to be held to this and it's this and it's that. After all, 40 years of owning it, and then it comes down to a whole meeting of an hour talking about all this other stuff. And right at the very end, oh, it's approved, but we're gonna have the first 2. It's not fair. I don't want that to happen. I want to be I pay my taxes. I'm a good citizen. I want to help people as much as the next person. I don't need somebody telling me that I'm going to have to help the people.
Well, Mr. Lynn, this board thought that we were giving you everything you wanted.
Right.
No, I did not want it. What we should have done is we should have had a discussion days before. We should have sat down and you should have explained all. You can't.
Well, the
You came
problem
in
is,
for a public hearing and the hearing took place and we spoke back and forth and you asked for a change of use.
right,
Which
You
I
were
was-
in for a change of use.
Which I was awarded by the zoning board of appeals. I was awarded that. And what my understanding was when I came to this
Well, why
meeting,
were they here then? You.
I can tell you
site
why
plan
we were
review.
here. Site plan review for parking and for water runoff. That was it. And then right at the very last 10 minutes, it's live in place and they'll be over 55.
So
yeah,
what
but
we did according to our hearing was not appropriate? Are you saying that what we did in the hearing was not appropriate? And the decision, I thought the decision was written on the discussion that was had during the meeting.
I'm not gonna answer. I don't feel like that's a question for me. That's a question for town council.
We feel that yes, that it was not appropriate because that was not something that you're reviewing. You're reviewing parking and things that the planning board would review, not for the type of tenants and such. And there's nothing in this decision as to any kind of criteria as to what that would be. What is the income of these people? What is You know, it's all subjective, and who's going to oversee this? I mean, any of these affordable housing programs that you have an organization that oversees
Yes.
them and that you belong to, and there's nothing in here, you know. Who's he gonna do? And then secondly, financially, you're taking 50% of his units and make them affordable, if that's the case, restricted.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in Townsend, it's the same amount of money as they get in Middlesex, because we're Middlesex County. For the
Why is it
guidelines.
needed? Why is it?
Oh, I stated that night.
I think we asked Mr. Warden, are you sure this is what you wanted?
Amenable. I was amenable and I was gonna talk to the, which I did.
Well,
And they
the
told-
problem is, it wasn't, if you're saying it was, you were amenable,
Correct.
but then we approved it based upon what we assumed you were gonna do there. So
Then we
now
both- then
we
both
have a
made
problem
mistakes.
because the permit's already been issued and you're already working on the building. So this is a really difficult spot to
My
be in.
permit, that's why we're here again tonight.
Exactly, that's why we're seeking an amendment to the permit.
That's all I'm
And,
doing.
and how do you want it amended? To what?
It's stated specifically in our attachment. The exact wording for the amendment. And basically to remove that condition from the site plan approval. It's just a one sentence conditions. We're asking you both to amend section 6 by deleting that portion which states the 2 first floor units shall be restricted in affordable housing. And replacing it with the site plan review special permit shall not be subject to any conditions. There were no conditions established by the zoning board of appeals. And then secondly, in the, to go with it, because it's also references section 8. To delete that portion, which states that made a motion to grant, or read the whole thing, but replacing it with simply made a motion to grant the site plan review. But without the subject to the condition of the 2 first floor units being made restricted. My understanding is that the building inspector spoke with town council and said that this would be the appropriate remedy for us.
So if we discuss the age limitation, then we gotta go back and discuss the affordable component as well, right? Is that, yeah, are
Well,
we,
we're asking that both of them be removed, yes, that there be no.
so are we gonna have affordable units here?
Well, what do you
No.
mean by affordable?
Okay.
It's in a program. So anyway, I'll entertain a motion for the amendment, which would be to delete the section, the 2 first floor units shall be age restricted affordable housing. And replacing it with the site plan review special permit shall not be subject to any conditions. And that's what town council said that was appropriate.
Not our town council, no. Our town council did not.
Excuse me,
recommend
not that he's
this
saying
amendment.
that he didn't give a recommendation, I heard it, but he said that this would be, I understand that this is what the building inspector. Will make
That was the next step that I
the
had to do.
procedure that we would want to do. We could either repeal this. Or he suggested to come back and just seek an amendment of the existing.
The building commissioner, town,
Yes.
okay,
And
the
this
town
is right.
council didn't opine on this.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing.
And
Town council did not
This
opine,
was a-
she's saying that the
this was a-
building commissioner,
This was
the building commissioner recommended that they take this course.
Betty, what?
Take this course by proposing this amendment to the special permit. We're not town council.
Well, it's because his hands are tied with it.
I'd like to entertain a motion to delete that section with a second for discussion.
So, okay, to make a motion to. On, what is this? The special permit site plan review to. Remove, subparagraph 1 under number 6 conditions.
Well, it just, we would only be deleting the 2 first floor units shall be age restricted affordable housing.
Which would be the subparagraph 1.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Why,
I
why
have
would
a
we delete-
question.
Just a minute, Ian. And then also, to amend section 8 by deleting the portion of which it says made a motion to grant a site plan review special permit to the Townsend, pursuant to the Townsend bylaws and the map, blah, blah, subject to the condition of the 2 first floor units. So it's just, so that sentence is removed in each of those sections, 6 and section 8.
Okay.
Why do we need the other one?
Because in the vote that was documented in the decision,
Mhm.
you voted to include the condition. So they're asking for the final vote that was taken and documented in the decision to be changed to reflect that there are no conditions. So it's actually in the vote, that's why.
Okay.
It's in 2 places, so it has to be removed from 2 places if the board.
Okay. So actually, per the attachment 1 and 2, as written. And we all have that, right? And Ian, do you have this? Ian, I know I kept you waiting.
It's, I'm guessing I should have it over here. Yeah. But my question was, is changing any of these words will affect anything in the bigger scale, or?
No, because everything else that was discussed was.
Hey, Lori.
Okay, what?
I say, I hate to do this, but I say we make the motion so we can open up the discussion section right now.
That's what I asked for. I asked for a motion.
Yeah, Carol made it. Did it go through? I didn't hear the vote go through, so we can do this discussion. I just want to keep it all.
We didn't have a vote to approve.
I don't think you've had a second yet.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Mike. I didn't hear a second on it, and I was trying to chime into second Carol's motion so we can all enter the
Okay.
discussion phase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Michael seconded.
Who did Michael?
Okay, does the maker of the motion want to make a comment? Do you want to make a comment?
No.
To this? Okay. Michael, do you want to make a comment to this? Michael V?
Yep. The only thing I think it's kind of been touched is I know that they were talking about town council. Does town council given us any guidance on this or no? Our town
No.
council, no other councils.
No.
Okay.
No. Ian, do you have any comment?
No, I only had that question. That was it.
Robert?
Yeah, I have a lot to say, I guess. I think, I mean, first of all, we already moved on this subject and approved it. Secondly, there was discussion about affordable housing and limiting the age restriction. So in terms of granting permits, all of that was reviewed. I really feel that Mr. Lorden wasn't sure what he wanted to do when he applied. And I also feel he was trying to get a special permit on a commercial property and for a change of use. And in order to persuade us to do that, he attracted us with affordable housing and with even age limited housing. So all of that was very favorable to us, all sounded very good and exciting, was all beneficial for the town, was in the town's best interest to do that. And so now he doesn't want the assisted age restricted housing, and now he doesn't want the affordable housing. So before you apply for a permit, you have to understand what you want and what you're going to ask for. You can't get a permit and then go back and say, I don't want it anymore. Or I want something different. So that's what's upsetting here. And I think this board's been really cooperative. I mean, we waived his site plan requirements and did other things. I had some other interests that other people didn't think were that significant, and that was fine, and we gave him his approval. So he came here and we gave him everything he asked for. So now it's a different story. I understand it made it problematic for him now. But, you know, before you present something to any regulatory agent, they're relying on what you're saying to them. And so, you know, any project anybody does deserves a certain amount of feasibility in advance to know if it's going to be successful. So I don't know what to do. I think if we do anything right now, it's going to be more problematic. It's going to generate other questions and problems, and I don't know how to do that. And again, he's already started to do work there, which I can understand. He wants to get these units rented. And so we did what we could to expedite that process for him. And so now permits and work permits and whatever have all been issued based upon what the zoning board and what this board has done, and based upon what he was proposing to do.
Okay, Robert, if I may.
I'm sorry.
This is the one that went to planning before it went to zoning, right? Okay. And so that was one of the mistakes. That shouldn't have happened, and we actually had a vote that would never happen again. That it would have to go to zoning before it comes here. So you did not have your change of use when you were with us, okay? Because it happened after.
Right.
So, and in your discussions with whoever, you got other advice that said you didn't have to do that. And we understand that. So we have a motion on the floor. It's been first and seconded. I'd like to, if there's no further discussion, which I don't think there should be, because we have to go to another public hearing, I'll take a roll call vote.
Carol
Madam
Hobson.
Chair, is this a public hearing?
Yes, it is.
I wasn't here at the beginning. I just kind of chimed in. Can I sign in and then have speak?
You didn't announce yourself.
I'm Cindy King. I'm here.
Oh. Okay, Cindy King's here. And you had a comment, Cindy?
I do. I apologize if I'm gonna say things that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I was listening to the ZBA meeting the other day. I don't know if you have correspondence. This went out to the other boards for comments, but they brought this issue up, and they had said that you had, it's not my words, it's theirs, that you had no authority to give those special conditions because the ZBA had already given them a permit without any conditions. And I just wanted to let you know
Okay,
that.
so the
And
clarification is that they met with us, the planning board, before they met with the ZBA. So they did not have their permits when they came and met with us. They did not get that until after they met with us.
and then I have a quick question, because I heard Mr. Lorden's attorney mention, and I think Mr. Lorden also just mentioned that they had come to you the other night whenever this was approved, in fact, I think I might have seen your video on that meeting as well, that they came for a site plan review and they mentioned that it had to do with the driveway and water, not about using the apartments. So I just had, that just kind of sounds like it may have gotten off the rails. And I just want to make these comments and not debate it, but just give my comments as you make your final vote. Thank you.
Like any hearing, did have a few mandatory referrals. They're not, oh, or this one, yeah.
Well, we have a, so I have to hold the vote for the mandatory reviews.
You can't vote until you read that.
Yeah, okay. And that's these right here?
Yeah,
Just
there's
two?
only, yeah, there's really only one.
Really one?
Everyone responded with no comment except for the board of Selectmen.
Okay. So, wait, let me get back to my,
I think that's all with that.
yes. So next, I'll hold on that motion because I skipped doing the mandatory reviews. And we only had one and it was from the Board of Selectmen, so I'll read it into the record. The Board of Selectmen support the planning board in their decision. And it was Veronica Kell that signed that, and I believe it was, I think the meaning of that was that they supported the decision that we had made.
Yeah. I know that.
But anyway. And that, for everyone's information, that planning board meeting is on YouTube in its entirety. So I've done that, and now I'm gonna go back to the vote. Carol, you voted yes. Ian,
Yes.
Michael? Michael V.
Yes, Mike B, yes.
Hey, Robert.
I'm opposed.
Okay, and Laura Schifrin, yes. So we have a majority vote. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned at, let's say,
Not adjourned.
7.
The meeting's not adjourned, the public hearing.
Oh, the public hearing is. I'd like to adjourn the meeting though. Public hearing is adjourned at, I don't know, 7:28. And I apologize to our next hearing.
Madam Chair, I think you need to vote to close the meeting, the public hearing.
Oh, okay. Have a roll call vote to close the meeting at 7:28.
Carol Hoff says yes.
A second.
It's yes for
And
Robert.
Ortiz, yes.
Ian? Okay.
Ian,
Michael V.
Mike Roscoe,
And Laura Schifrin, yes. So the meeting is closed. Thank you. Let's see. 227 Mason Road?
Yes.
Okay. Like to open the public hearing for 227 Mason Road Site Plan Review Special Permit, October 3rd, 2022 at 7:29 p.m. And I do apologize. As the other people were late before us. There's a public sign-in sheet. Is there anyone on that needs to sign in for this public hearing? Doesn't everybody have to announce in a public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
can see the name.
Cindy King, Alyssa Struthers, Marie Kay. I don't know who that is. Susan Duncan, is that? And okay, so roll call vote of the board.
Carol Hoff says present.
Robert, they're in prison.
Ian,
Ian Ortiz, press.
Michael V,
Mike Roscoe, present.
and Laura Schifrin present. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Townsend Zoning Bylaw 145-1 42 site plan review special permit. Yes, I am, okay. Planning board will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 3rd, 2022 at 7:15 PM in the Selectmen's Chambers at Memorial Hall, 272 Main Street, and via remote access at whatever it was, to review an application received from Brian Schulman proposing a change in use to operate a commercial kennel at 227 Mason Road. Assessors map 13, block 21, lot 3. This parcel is zoned RA3 and is in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this application may do so at a hearing or so in writing prior to the hearing. Copies of this application are available for review at Town Hall during business hours. Respectfully submitted, Laura Schifrin, Chairman.
Pretty sure the applicant is absent.
The applicant is absent.
So we have a butters?
Who do we have? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's not online either that I can see.
Is the applicant online?
Brian Schulman's not here.
Oh.
Just proceed as normal.
Okay,
You have a whole checklist.
let me get my checklist. So the applicant isn't here to present. Board reviews plans against towns, rules and regs bylaw. Vote on applicant's request to forego professional site plan. That's what's on my notes.
That's in the application.
Okay, so do we have any, all right, so I mean, the next thing here is, the applicant wants us to vote the request to forego a professional site plan.
Well, that's in the letter. Yep. You have to look in the application. There's a letter there from the applicant.
Well, I can read that. I, Brian Schulman, owner of 227 Mason Road, West Townsend, Mass, am formally requesting the granting authority waive the requirement for a site design plan to be prepared by a registered architect, landscape architect, professional land surveyor, or professional engineer. The last legal use was a children's daycare. No alterations to the existing domicile or property at large need to be completed to accommodate change in use to a commercial kennel as described in TZB section 145-26 B 559. This property sits on 4.4 acres and has over 5,700 square feet of living space, as well as a fenced yard, making it more than adequate operate our dog boarding and daycare business here. I have submitted a plan complete with what I believe is all the applicable information required with respect to the Townsend bylaws. And that's right here. Now, is that a big one of this?
Yeah.
Okay. So site plan review, we have not done a walk. We have
Yeah,
not,
there was a sidewalk.
there was. Did you go? Okay.
Madam Chair, can I offer a point of information?
Please.
You mentioned earlier in the previous hearing a comment that the planning board did not want to decide on site plan review until the zoning board had made decisions. And I just wanted to let you know that the zoning board did meet on this issue and the applicant requested a continuance. So they have not issued a decision or determination regarding a special permit at this time.
then I think it may be. We may be looking at a continuance. So saying that, and are there mandatory referral comments? And are these done? Okay, I will, I can read them into the record now because their comments would come down here. Okay, from the conservation agent. Comments. For plans, please show location of compost area, concerns for possible water quality impacts due to something.
Composting of animal waste.
Okay, thank you for reading it because I could not read that writing. Plans need to be to scale and legible. Be advised that Townsend has a 35-foot no disturb buffer of water features. Several structures were observed on the property inside the buffer. Additional comments can be found on COMSCOM. Okay, COMSCOM referrals for CBA. PV signed by James Gates. Okay. Additional plan, and that's from the same thing, conservation agent or commission. Additional plan requirements, contour lines 35 feet, no disturb, 100-foot wetland buffer, 200 riverfront buffer. Move compost bin out of 35-foot no disturb area. Comply with Board of Health, animal waste, and compost management requirements. As I'm reading this, I just want to ask a question. Has the applicant received the referrals?
Yes. Not
Copies-
all the
copies
planning
of-
board. He's received the zoning board of appeals. Some of them have been used for both. The Board of Health has been, and the police one has been. But he has received the, not all the planning board ones.
Okay, but
Yeah,
he will.
he
Okay.
will.
Okay, this one is land use coordinator. I'm gonna be able to read this because it's typed. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I have concerns about the placement and composting of animal waste in close proximity to a water resource. Dog waste runoff during storm events can transmit viruses and bacteria into water and groundwater resources, including, well, maybe I can't read. Even if it's typed, I can't read it, Michael. Use your 25-cent words with somebody else. Under Townsend's municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4 permit, Townsend has been working to address environmental impacts of stormwater, including specific outreach and education regarding the risk of dog waste impacting the watershed. The site appears to have a dog water compost system processing waste within the buffer zone as defined by Townsend General Bylaw 138-7 definitions A6. I would like to see a project proposal that details active management of stormwater runoff given the large volume of dog waste generated daily by a kennel of this size before a determination regarding stormwater management can be made pursuant to Townsend Regulation 175-44 Stormwater Management Erosion and Sedimentation Control Plan, the Stormwater Plan. Continued by the Land Use Coordinator. Because the project proposal includes not additional ground alteration or earth disturbance, for stormwater, it qualifies as a non-applicable project under the new section D of 175-44 stormwater management erosion sedimentation control plan, the stormwater plan. If the project scope changes, it would need to be re-reviewed for applicability by the land use coordinator under these regulations. Okay, Board of Selectmen. The select board would like to discourage asking for forgiveness as opposed to getting permission in the first place. Fines should be assessed for those who do not follow proper procedure. Is he, what? Is he already operating? This is after the fact?
No,
It sounds like it.
he has not been right now. He cannot work. Not in.
Certainly a lot of questions to be asked, huh?
Well, why would they say that then?
Did you read the building commissioner's letter? I believe you all had that. The building commissioner's letter.
Yes.
Yes, so you read that. He actually has been asked to not operate at this time.
Okay, but he was then.
He's
We're
not,
hearing the
Previous-
ask that.
previous
Okay.
to
he's not operating, yeah.
when it was a new production.
Okay, okay,
He hasn't been since.
okay, and that's that.
He wants to realize what the permit was
Okay, water department.
The permit was revoked?
required.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a daycare.
Big difference.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Water department comment is no water line in the area. And this one is Board of Health. 1, must comply with the requirements of Title V and the Board of Health regulation. Likely at a minimum to require Title V inspection and replacement of the septic tank with a 2 compartment. Is that because of change of use?
No, I think that's something else.
I don't know, whatever he wrote,
Well,
the Board of Health has their own regs.
Will require
I
approval.
think it
from-
does have a change of use, right?
Yeah.
Because it was residential before, yeah.
Well, no,
Well,
we
it was
had
a
the
daycare.
daycare before,
But
but it was also a resident.
It was a residence, then a daycare,
Yeah,
and then the septic is probably not designed for the daycare even, right?
Yeah. It was quite some time ago.
yeah, a long time ago. Let me finish the Board of Health. I was on 2, will require approval from the Board of Health for the change of use. 3, the use may not cause a nuisance condition. Highway superintendent. That's no comment.
Yeah, that's been
It's erased. Police department. Comments. Please find the attached calls for service to this address. It should be noted that officers were called to the address on 8/6/22 by a citizen expressing concern for a dog being housed at that location. Upon arrival and subsequent investigation, it was determined that the location was being utilized as a kennel in violation of the town bylaw 28-4, which the zoning board of, which requires written approval by the animal control officer and a special permit issued by the zoning board of appeals. The condition in which the aforementioned canine was exposed to resulted in criminal charges being sought for cruelty to animals. A complaint alleging the operation of an unlicensed kennel was also filed with the court. These reports are not available at this time due to them being the subject of active litigation.
Um. This will. This is Eric's, but there's no comment. No comment from the building commissioner. Who's coming for on determination letter. So. We'll give you a
Okay.
comment on the application.
Then we have, I am writing to the Townsend Planning Board in order to make you aware of a death of a boarded dog while in the care of Chester's Place in early August 2022. I encourage the board to refrain from providing any approval for Chester's Place until the situation is resolved. In summary, the death of the dog is considered suspicious. When the dog was transported to the Westford Emergency Vet by Chester's Place, the emergency vet notified the Westford Police Department due to the circumstances, including Chris Aruda falsely informing the vet that the dog was her own dog and providing false information about the dog, including date of birth. The dog was also already in rigor mortis. The dog was soaking wet. The Townsend Police, specifically Officer Lowe, was then notified along with the Townsend Animal Control Officer, Mary Letourneau, who went out and shut down the unlicensed Chester's Place the next morning. The conditions of the establishment were noted to not have air conditioning functioning, and the heat had been in the 90s that week. I strongly urge you to consider this ongoing situation as a factor when evaluating whether Chester's Place should be able to operate as a licensed boarding facility. At minimum, I hope that Chester's Place is not approved to care for animals until the situation has reached resolution. If I had not sent this to the correct person to notify the full board, should you please provide me with the proper contacts for the planning board to make them aware of this ongoing situation? It was given to the right board. Thank you, Erica Burns. I'm writing in support of granting Chester's Place dog boarding a license to operate. Our dog Bo has been going there for nearly a year and misses the pack so much. He would know when we were heading to Chester's Place and knew it by name too, and just start pacing the car and crying with excitement until he got there. I always loved letting him out to see how he would run at full speed between the doors until someone answered, and then bolt in, never looking back. It is really a special place, and should they be able to open again, we will be there with that very excited pup of ours, Brian and Christine. Love their animals, and Brian and Christine, the owners, love their animals and have created a really special place. Cheers, Mike, Marley, and Chevrolet. That's something else. That's something else. Okay, so that's the extent of what we remember and to read into the record. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's, oh, I see Brian is here. Excellent. He just logged in. Awesome.
Is that the-
Okay, Brian,
He's trying to get his. That's great.
That's the applicant.
yeah, Brian, can you hear us? We cannot hear you. Okay, you can hear us. Okay, we've just gone through most of the hearing through the referrals, and they are now public record. And so now, I will give you an opportunity, if you can get connected, to speak on your behalf, and then we will have other people in the public hearing who wish to speak. That's the point of the hearing that we're in.
Okay, I don't know if, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm having some technical difficulties here, but I think I should be good now. So, we just went through a few weeks ago another hearing with the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're not 100% sure if we're going about this process the right way. It's been a little bit of a struggle to get a straight answer from anybody as to the specific procedure to follow with this. But essentially, we have a dog boarding business. My fiance Christine and I, we operate out of our house. We've been doing so since we moved in here. And we were originally unaware that there was actually a specific license or process that we needed to go through in order to do that. We've been doing this for mostly family friends. And just earlier this year, it had really started to kind of boom a little bit with referrals and friends of friends and so on and so forth. But that's kind of the situation that we have here. We watch dogs for just daycare, and we also do overnight boardings as well. And we're just trying to get everything situated so that we can continue to do that in the future the right way.
Brian, just for the record, would you please state your name and your address, please?
Sure. My name is Brian Schulman, and my address is 227 Mason Road here in Townsend.
Okay, and we already went through, like I said, and they'll be on the YouTube. Most of the hearing has been done already, and you're here to, you want us to vote on a request for Go Professional Site Plan. So do you want to speak to that?
Can you say that one more time? I'm just trying to make sure I have the right, the purpose of this hearing correct.
It's a site plan review, and you are requesting to forego professional site plan. So in other words,
Gotcha.
provide documentation needed for the site plan review.
Gotcha. So I assume that that you have a copy of the plans that were submitted.
So why are we forgoing?
Yes, we do.
This is not, he prepared them, we'll let him speak.
Oh, okay. Do you want to speak? You want to speak to this, please? That you provided us?
So I
plan?
believe the plans have everything that is needed, although it gets a little bit fuzzy when we get into the nitty-gritty specific details listed in the bylaws as far as what the board would like to see. So for our specific situation, we have no proposed changes to the existing property really at all. This property used to be a daycare. I believe it was it was a legitimate daycare. It was a use code was for a children's daycare, I believe, of up to 20 children, probably sometime in the 80s. So the existing structure is essentially the same. It hasn't really been updated since then. And we, instead of using it as a children's daycare, have just more or less converted it for dogs. So we're not planning on building anything. There's no remodeling or any sort of construction going on whatsoever. This is specifically just so I think the end goal here, at least as far as I've been told, is that we need to get a kennel license in order to operate our dog boarding business legally. So I think this is just one step to kind of reach that goal.
Yeah.
Let's see the parking.
How many dogs are there in a given day?
On average, it's roughly 10. The max capacity that we've set is 20.
Have you, and you have gotten and read the department referral comments? Like the conservation agent and,
I have read the comments that were part of the zoning board hearing. I don't know if those comments are the same for this one, but I have been working with the health department and the conservation commission on their comments, as I said, about 2 weeks ago with that were left with the zoning board of appeals.
okay, so you probably know that there's no decision tonight and you need to, how long will you need to get what you get together what you need to present to the planning board?
Well, I guess my question is, I'm not exactly 100% sure what else you would need from me. That's kind of been the battle going through this process, is nobody could give a definitive answer as to what would be required until we went through the actual hearing. And then at the hearing, at least with the last hearing with the ZBA, they insinuated that I maybe jumped the gun in going through the process with the ZBA, as if I should have gone to each individual department beforehand to figure these things out. But again, we wouldn't have known what needed to be done until we went through that process. So I don't know if this is kind of a similar fashion to that. But yeah, as I said, I'm not 100% sure what else would be required as far as you're concerned from.
So just like with the ZBA, because we're doing site plan review, so your application goes to the department heads like conservation agent, the board of health, well, police, fire, all the departments would get it. And then we have several that came in and were read into the record, which you will get copies of. If you don't already have them, you will get them. And also we had a pro and a con from the public in. So, and he'll get those too, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you get everything that we get.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then,
so we had we had close to 30 people that reached out directly to us. And then we found out that they could not, as far as the town would be considering them, they could not come direct from us. As far as references, they had to be submitted directly to the town. So I believe we had close to either 15 to 20 of them. I don't know if that's the number that you have as well, because they were specifically addressed, I believe, to the ZBA.
Yeah, they were, he's correct. They went to the ZBA public hearing.
oh, they went to the ZBA, we didn't get them.
So that was another thing we were, I guess, unsure about, is we probably should have had them send them to each department or each hearing directly. But again, we didn't know that it was so specific, where we assumed if it went to the town, everybody would get copies of these things.
It's really not necessary, but it's more necessary for the ZBA.
Okay.
They're the change of use permit. So
So usually, in speaking with Beth or Mike Crowley regarding this, they are the experts that know what you should get to what department. Okay?
Okay.
Anyway, everything that we've done so far this evening will be on YouTube. You'll be able to watch it. And then if you have any questions, you can give Beth a call. Okay?
Okay.
So now I'm at the, we're gonna do two things. We do have some people who want to speak to it as well. So unless you have something else to say about your application, at this point in time, I'll let you
I don't believe so. I think like I said before, I just want to make sure that I understand exactly what the requirements are for each department, because it's been a little bit hazy as to what, it seems like everybody is expecting another department to either want something or request something. And we had an issue with the health department and conservation where originally nobody seemed to be concerned with anything until the hearing. And then some of the actual comments came out on the record. So we had to go back to each of those departments. And like I said, we're working through that. I believe everything the health department needs is all set. I think we're just waiting for their next meeting to officially make the determination. And then I guess from there, I'll figure out how to relay that information to each one of these boards. I'm assuming that doesn't happen automatically. So I'll have to figure out how that logistically will work. And
Okay.
the conservation, I think, was kind of tied to this. The planning boards, or at least the assessment of the plans, I think they wanted to see a few additional markers on those plans. And I don't know if that overlaps with the requirements that you guys have for the planning board, or if that's just specific for them. I was trying to figure out if I need to submit updated plans with things like the 200-foot. There's a couple.
Well, he has it on his plan. He has that.
Okay. All right,
So,
so,
I mean, let me just add that the ZBA public hearing was continued to November 30th. So if you want to,
we have to meet
take
after
that
that,
into consideration, you would have to continue to after that, yes.
right, okay,
But before that, I would make sure that you don't have any requirements of him, and, that's something you guys have to figure out.
okay, so let's get to. We did get our referrals for planning board. And from the Board of Health, from Conservation Agent, from Land Use. And you will have all of those and the concerns that they come up with are concerns that you need to address, okay?
Okay.
So, having said that, we have had people, we have had people waiting here that are abutters or that want to speak in the public hearing, and it's their turn next on my list, okay?
Sure.
We're-
My name is Kenneth Goodwin
And,
and
your
211 Mid
address.
Mason Road.
okay.
I have, just concerns about the size of
Let
it.
it come up.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
The size and the capacity, which we had stated was 20. What it's gonna have the impact on my well, with, the disposal of the waste and whatnot. The noise, I've sat out on my deck for 3 hours and listened to dogs barking down there, continuously for 3 hours.
How close are you to him?
I'd say 300 yards maybe, or something like that.
How many?
300
300.
yards possibly. I'm a little higher in elevation. I can
Okay.
kind of, see it through the trees. But,
Are you in a butter to the right or left of his property?
to the right, if you're on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, and, the concerns of the quality, like, are they gonna be indoors, outdoors, the quality of care? I don't wanna, live next to a puppy mill and find out. I've always had dogs. I have nothing against dogs, just the noise and the concerns about the wells and the care of the dogs,
So you have been there while this was operational,
Yeah, I didn't know. It was a daycare. I just thought maybe they had a lot of dogs.
I see. So what were your observations then?
Well, it sounded, just the dogs barking at each other continuously, and not, just for hours. I'm retired now, so I sit out on my deck. I'll go out there to relax, and I moved to Townsend 35 years ago to get out secluded, quiet, and nice. So if they could do something about the noise and the water quality, I'd be a little bit more amiable.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
and your name and address.
My name is David Michaud. I'm at 213 Mason Road. I'm directly adjacent to their property.
Mhm.
Still to the right, and kind of in their backyard per se. The great thing about their property is they have a nice open area in the back. The bad thing about that is noise resonates across that back field incredibly, and it just echoes throughout the entire neighborhood. So my concern is with 10 or 20 dogs, potentially in pens out back, the noise is going to be unbearable. I have been out on a Saturday, for example. I don't know if they were home or if they were not home, but there was constant barking the entire day. I don't know if it's me making noise on the top of the hill that sparks them, but it doesn't matter, right? They were going on and on. Secondly, there's a nice pond in their backyard, which I would be concerned about some of the runoff going into that pond and affecting some of our groundwater in the area. We all have fairly deep wells in the area because we have to reach for it. And when some of that comes from some of those groundwater locations, it's a bit concerning.
Can you tell me a little bit about the pond at different times of the year? Does it flood? Does it dry out?
It's in their backyard. I hate to speak to his property, but
Yeah.
it's in their backyard. It's kind of off to the left behind their house. It's not a big pond, right? It does not dry up from my observations. It never dries up. You know, there's wildlife in there. Ducks are going in, geese are going in and out and whatnot. I've seen them in and out of the pond. So it does not dry up. So therefore it's fed from either a spring or a runoff or something. He's right at the bottom of the hill, and we have the hill behind us, and it runs off. It's groundwater running right down into that, and it pitches from all kinds of directions from there.
But it doesn't flood or anything.
No, it's not that big. It's a smaller pond, but it is standing groundwater, and it's always there year round. So that's a bit of my concern. And then as you brought up, Laura, it's the some of the waste, some of the animal waste and whatnot, and where's that going to be and how's that going to affect us? And when they're in the kennels out back, they have to clean those kennels off. Those kennels will have to be sprayed off because that's what they do at kennels, right? They'll have to spray off the grounds and whatnot. Where's that water running off to, right? You can't pick up. It's impossible to pick up every little thing that of waste in those kennel areas, and so they're going to have to be cleaned off. And so that's a bit of my concern also.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming. Is there anyone else from the audience that is online that has a question or a comment in reference to this public hearing? Seeing none. Ian, do you have any comments?
Yeah, my only question would be, I saw the comments from the police department, and I also saw the negative comment from the lady that said that one of the dogs died and whatnot. And I wanted to see or know how they fix it, what happened, or if that is already something of no concern.
Brian, did you want to respond to that? Brian?
Yeah, can you guys hear me again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So, first off, for the other two gentlemen that spoke, I think you may be referring to some of our neighbors that have two husky mixes that are very loud, and same kind of situation. They're in the vicinity of a big open area, so the sound does travel. I don't know that noise is specifically coming from us. But the other situation, we don't really have any details. When we spoke to the animal control officer the day following the incident. We were trying to get details, and we were told that we were not allowed to contact the owners at that point anymore, and that further details would be given to us regarding the cause, the whole situation. And now we're also in a, my fiance is going through an issue with an attorney now to try to figure out why there is a criminal complaint against her because of the situation. And she, I believe, because of the
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fact that
Brian.
it's an ongoing,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Brian, I think I'm gonna stop you there, because I think I read something in the police, in the chief's comment, that there was litigation, there wasn't gonna be any more comments because there was litigation. So
right?
you're not on trial here,
I
you know, and we
didn't
don't,
hear that.
we don't wanna, you know, be stepping someplace where we shouldn't be.
Right.
I will just say this, not to get into any further detail on that, but generally, this whole situation was a terrible situation that we went through for everybody involved, especially for the owners. And it was the first time that we had ever had a serious medical issue. And now, essentially, our lives have been turned upside down by this. Not just because of the litigation, but because my fiance and I have dedicated our lives, essentially our adult lives, to caring for animals. And now it's, even though we're not on trial here, it seems like going through this process has been a trial of sorts to not only address or question our character, but question our abilities to care for animals, to provide a safe environment for animals. And in light of a terrible situation, it's heartbreaking to have to go through that, and to go through a very long and tedious and confusing process with the town to try to navigate things so that we can continue doing what we love to do and what our clients need us to do as part of the community.
Okay, well, there is a process to getting a permit when you operate a business. Okay, so it's not that you're not just doing friends and family now. You know, you have a business that you're operating out of your home. And granted, there was a business there before, but it's a change of use. And that's all about town bylaws, you know, kind of thing. So it's not you specifically, it's everyone who wants to do what you want to do. Okay.
Well,
So
I think essentially, we completely understand that, and we know that everybody's just doing their jobs. I think the tough part for us is that essentially what we've been told is if we wanted to start a daycare tomorrow, we could, because that's the way that this property has been zoned. But because we don't watch children and we watch dogs, that now it creates this whole process. So, and we get it. It's just, it's a battle. It's a struggle.
yeah, but I don't think it's just
Excuse me, why?
what
Why is that a change of use?
daycare's one by law
Oh,
and kennels is another.
okay.
Okay, so it's really not the same thing, because you're 2 points.
Mhm.
The animals do not make the same noise as the children make, okay? Nor do they excrete on the lawn and whatnot, like the children do, okay? It's contained. My daughter went to that daycare.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah, so I know
No
the building
kidding.
very well. I know the property very well. I know the people who were there. So, yeah, it's changed hands, and that was 30 years ago, you know, that she went there. And it was a loving place then. I'm sure that it's a loving place now.
but they are two different animals, no pun intended. All right,
May I just add one thing? If you're going to take a vote on his request, I don't know if we can do that tonight or not, but I would suggest the board go through at least drawing requirements before you take that vote. If you're going to do it tonight, I don't know if you are or not, but so that he can at least, because if you're going to continue this to after the ZBA hearing,
yeah,
it'll be quite some time. So tonight, it
yeah,
would be best to
okay,
give
we
him
will,
some direction.
okay, we will try to do that. Okay. And I will look to you to help me do that. So, okay, I just want to make sure that we've heard everything from the public that's here. Okay, and that Brian has responded. Just, no, we have to address his plan and his request for the foregoing of it. And we need to go through our steps in order to do that. So is the board ready to work on that? Okay,
Okay, I'll read you. What I can do is read the specific regs and you guys
Okay.
can look at the plan and decide whether you're okay with
okay.
that.
So what
requirement being
Beth is
met
going to
or
do
not.
now is she's going to read into the record the drawing requirements, of which basically has to do with what you want us to waive or forgo. Okay?
Yeah, if they're not on here. So the
Speak
first
louder.
one, site design plan, subject to site plan review, special permit, shall be prepared by a registered architect, landscape architect, professional land surveyor, or professional engineer. The site plan shall be prepared at a scale no less than 1 inch equals 20 feet.
Do that. I don't know what this means. He's got 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. I don't think that's right.
Ask Rob.
Huh?
Ask Robert.
Robert, what's the scale for use?
1/8 inch equals a foot.
That's what I said. So is that 1 inch equals 20 feet? You gotta do your calculations.
No,
This
1
is
inch
1/8.
equals 8 feet.
8 feet.
Okay, so it's better than the 1 inch equals 20 feet. Is that acceptable?
Yes, it is. Well, yes, but can I just give some comments and some guidance here? You mind?
No.
So based on the information and feedback we're getting from other people and the abutters here. The area of the lot and all that is more than sufficient for what you're trying to do here. But we need a larger plot profile here that will identify where that pond is. And so in order for the planning board and zoning board to focus on concerns from the neighbors, we need more information about the lot specific, okay? So that would include, so we're hearing like from the abutters here about the noise potential. And in the site plan, you might be able to incorporate some kind of landscaping things that would minimize that or show a response to that. And then there's the concern about the composting and the excrement that be there. So on that site plan, we want to see where you propose to do it, how you propose to do it. So that would give us information, and would give the abutters information about feeling more comfortable with this. And the other thing is how far the pond is away from the buildings or any of the structures there. So that will give us information if it's a major concern, a minor concern, or a moderate concern. So that would be important to know a little bit about the topography. How does the ground slope? Obviously, it slopes in the back of the house towards the pond. Is it a steep slope or a shallow slope? That kind of information is very useful. I think it's going to be useful to not only the zoning board and to this board, but also to health department and other things like that, so we have a good picture of what's going on there, where the septic is, where the wells are. So that any question that would come up, we have something to look at and to respond to. Do you know what I mean? So what you have here is a footprint of the building. And many of us have already been there and looked at it. And the parking, we don't see any problem with that, but we need more specific information. It's too schematic in submission right now. Do you understand, Brian?
So.
Yes, I do. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, we actually need a smaller scale drawing than that, 1 in 20 or
Yeah,
something.
because you have to show more.
Because we want to see the lot more.
Smaller scale, yeah. So,
It's all in the regs, I think.
okay, so how would you want that worded? Brian, basically what's gonna happen is we're not gonna forego having it done appropriately,
Well, see,
right?
it says the
Unless
board,
he can do it himself.
we can waive the requirement that site plans be
Okay.
prepared by a registered architect.
Oh, he can't.
landscape- Okay, so he's asking you to do that, and you just take a vote on that, whether you think, or you could ask him whether he thinks he can provide that.
Do you think he can?
What,
Do you think he can? Do you think he can?
do it himself?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Entertain a motion. He's,
To waive the requirement
I'll entertain a motion to waive the requirement.
that site design plans be.
Lori?
prepared as-
I thought we weren't gonna be making a motion, we were gonna do a continuance because he has not gone to the zoning board of appeals and gotten a
This is
motion.
only, no, okay, let me explain.
Okay,
Because Beth has explained it to me. The continuation of the zoning board hearing is until November 30th. We will continue this after the zoning board of appeals. But for his request, we should vote yes or no so that if it's no, he can prepare. Well, he's gonna have to prepare either way, actually, because he's gonna have to show more than what he's shown here. So our vote tonight is only to address his request to forego having a licensed engineer or a landscape surveyor or whatever, somebody who has a license to do these plans. So it's yes or no to that. And this way, he'll know how to prepare when we do continue. Okay, do you understand, Mike?
yeah, that makes more sense.
With that, okay. So that is the motion to address whether or not, well, okay. The request is to forego the licensed surveyor to do the site plan to be presented.
That's what I was worried.
You want
It's
me to-
basically a waiver.
Okay, it's a waiver of the requirement that site design plans be prepared by a registered architect, landscape architect, professional land surveyor, or professional engineer. That is his request, that we waive that. Do I have a motion?
Lauren,
You have to make it in the affirmative. Motion has to
Yeah.
be in the affirmative.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to waive the professional engineered requirements for the site plan.
As I read it, because that's what'll be in the minutes, okay?
As you read it.
And is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Carol seconds. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Carol, how do you vote?
No.
Okay, Robert?
No.
Ian?
No.
Michael,
Mike Verosco, no.
Laura Schifrin, no. So your request for the waiver of having a professional prepare the site plan has been denied. So, and now we are going to continue your hearing. And so you will have time now to prepare this before we meet again. Just like, and probably we may have some of the things that zoning is already, probably the stuff you already have to go through will then be presented to us. And then, are we gonna put this in January?
December 12th. Because he's gonna meet with ZBA on the 30th.
Okay,
So, and the next planning board scheduled meeting would be December 12th.
okay. This is probably gonna be our only meeting that month. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing on 227 Mason Road, site plan review until 6:45. Can we do 6:45 on that day? 6:45 on December 12th.
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing.
I second.
6:45 on December 12th, Monday, December 12th.
At December 12th, 2022 at 6:45.
And Robert second.
So you're not having a Christmas party?
Ian, how do you vote?
I'll make cookies.
Ian, yes.
Michael?
Mike Verosco, yes.
Carol?
Yes. Carol House says yes.
Rock, yes.
And Laura Schifrin, yes. Okay. So we voted to continue, so that's it. We're done, right? I don't have to vote to close, right? No, it's we continued. Okay.
It's continued, that's all you have to do.
Okay. Thank you all very much for attending this public hearing. Now we are moving on to our 7:45 hearing at 8:28 p.m. And where's that packet? Where's the packet?
Yeah, this is all you have to really do. I mean, you can.
Do I have to open and close it?
You open it, yeah, but you don't have to read legal notice again. You
Okay.
Just announce for the minutes that you're opening the public hearing.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I have my roll call on, right?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming. Okay, it is 8:28 p.m. and I am opening the hearing for 22 Main Street, which was scheduled for 7:45 p.m. this evening. And we received and I need a roll call vote.
Carol House is present.
Robert Darian present.
Ian? Ian? Michael?
Mike Verosco, present.
Ian? His mic is.
Ian present, yes.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so we are in the continuation of the hearing on 22 Main Street. And this morning Beth got an email stating the following. Read 22 Main Street hearing scheduled for 7:45 p.m. on October 3rd. As of today, the architect's drawings are not ready for submission. I request postponement of the hearing. Thank you, Sally Thurber. So, which means we're going to continue the hearing again. The problem is a date. And what did Adam say?
November 28th. On Monday, November 28th.
Now, what will happen if I can't like physically attend, but I can do Zoom?
You can, I believe we can still share.
Yeah, and then Robert and hopefully they'll be able to come in
What
because we
date?
still have to be hybrid. It's Monday, the 28th of November.
I may be away.
Okay.
So you won't be able to attend at all, or can you attend remotely?
No, I'm planning to be in Florida for a week, 10 days there over the Thanksgiving recently.
Would you, so you won't be able to attend even remotely, right? Probably not.
No, it's not gonna work.
No, not when you're in Florida. Okay, good to know. So,
Let me get you the dates here.
And he couldn't do the 14th.
yeah, the only day.
Why aren't we
he
meeting
could
on
do-
the 7th? He can do the 7th.
December 7th?
Yeah,
No, November 7th?
November 7th.
No, because we're doing the 2nd and 4th, 14th and the 20th.
But if it works out better for us to do the first,
Yeah, I mean, I certainly can set that up.
Yeah, I'll be gone from the 18th to the 26th.
and I'm
29th.
gone too during
Okay.
that, but I'll be
18th
back
to
because I have
29th.
that
Okay.
medical thing. So I would rather do that, but
Okay.
7th, the 7th,
Mhm.
okay. So the 7th, and I will be here.
The 7th
Okay.
of November?
Yeah.
Yeah.
November
if
I
that
just
works.
Ian, is that you?
on the first 2 weeks, I will probably be transporting from either from Niger to what do you call to the Congo
November?
area. So in the first 2 weeks of November. So I don't know if I'm gonna have stable internet anywhere those 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay, but
Yeah.
Ian, if it's okay with you, we have to do this and we have to do it with Adam. Okay, this is
Okay.
on Main Street.
I can try and let Beth know around
yeah.
that time if I am
Okay,
in the internet or not.
okay. So, and then we have the 21st, and I'm not sure if that's the day I leave or not. I could, maybe I leave on the 22nd, so that would work, 7 and 21 for November. So
Okay.
our meetings will be the 7th and the 21st in November. So if for some reason,
I won't be on the 21st of November.
okay,
You could just do November 7th and then
see
December
what
12th.
happens.
One per month. And you could do the continuation of 22 Main
good with
Street
that.
on December 12th.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. We need a break.
That
I
will,
know, I need a break too.
Okay,
Yeah, that-
so
we'll be after that.
22 Main Street will be continued to Monday, November 7th at 8 p.m.
Yep. And we have no hearings.
We
at that
have,
time.
yeah, we do.
Not on the 7th, because there is no meeting on the 7th.
Oh, well, that's right, we're going the 12th. Oh, yeah, 6:45. Let's do
Okay.
it at 6:45.
So you want to do, I'll create a meeting on November 7th, and that will be, and this is.
For 22 Main Street, right? And then whatever else we may fit in, hopefully it's not as busy as tonight.
And then there is another board that does use selectmen's chambers on that night. So I think they're done by like 6. So I don't think it's a problem to do the 6:30, but it might be safer to do 7. I don't know.
Okay, why don't you do 7 o'clock?
Just be safe.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right, November 7th at
At
7.
7,
That's easy to remember.
okay, and then we'll have the hearing at 7:30. Do
Oh.
whatever business we can
Okay,
before the 7:30.
okay. And so this will be continued to 7:30.
Okay, and that'll be our only meeting in November. And then our only meeting in December will be the 12th.
Okay.
December 12th, the next one.
December 12th after November 7th.
Okay.
So now I will close the continuation of 22 Main Street's
We have
hearing.
to take a vote on the continuation date and time first, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, we didn't have the, right, okay, because we
Oh.
just did that on the other one. All right,
So we have to
motion,
take one.
please, to continue 22 Main Street hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the 22 Main Street hearing to 7 November 2022 at 7:30.
Second?
I second it.
Okay, Ian seconded, we'll give it a shot. All those in favor?
Carol Hoff says yes.
Yes, Robert.
Ian Ortiz, yes.
Mike?
Mike Verosco, yes.
Or Schifrin, yes. Okay, so we have continued to a date, don't have to have another roll call to close. Okay. I keep losing the agenda in all these papers. So we've done all the public hearings, we've done all this. We have.
Work sessions, we can do the planning board fee schedule.
Okay. Mike, you're still with us. So plant the fee schedules.
Yeah, we worked on a.
We did last month, and then we have a copy of it here, right?
Yeah, and Carol and Mike and I had a workshop on
Print
it.
out copies.
Oh, yeah, on the 26th. How about you guys report? I'm gonna rest.
It went good.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, we did good.
Oh, good.
So do you have a copy of
Do
our
we have a copy?
proposal?
Yeah, it should be a print copy in
Well,
your, in your
yeah.
packet.
I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what number is that on here?
I have a pre.
In here, under 3.1.
3.1,
Work session.
3.1.
3.2.
No, this is fours.
Yeah, it should be
Fours.
3.1.
3.1.
3.1.
Is that my 3.1? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
3.1, recommendations to planning board by workshop for fee revisions. Thanks, guys, for doing that.
So we did this, and we did it in pretty, I don't know, like an hour, so maybe a little longer.
Okay, Michael, did you have comments on our wonderful work group?
Just how wonderful they were. No, we had a really great discussion. So this was a roundtable working group. This was not part of a public hearing or a public meeting. However, it was recorded because there was not a quorum. It was not considered a meeting. But we had a great discussion. Folks had done a lot of research into other communities and and Carol in particular reached out to a lot of specific communities for additional feedback beyond just their website language. And so we worked through them one by one, right from top to bottom. This was the generated list that you have right here.
I mean, it looks fair.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to, well, we compared other communities, when they were doing it, when they did it last. Then we got input from Mike about what kind of activities happen here. You know, what's typical of happening in our town. Then we went through and we asked a lot of questions about cost, and we discussed the different tasks involved by the different participants, planning board, zoning board, and Mike and Beth and so came up with some areas. We didn't reduce anything. We increased fees in certain areas because the amount,
Reduce any of them?
right.
Some we kept the same, and some we split out because we looked at other towns where they had a fee structure that made more sense than what we
Right, it
had.
made it more complicated.
So thought it was clearer.
Yeah, we simplified the process, so it's easier, more clarity to it. Not
They had
as
some
many
great-
levels and steps.
Yeah, they had some great ideas in particular about specifically like trying to tier some fees. So like site plan review, for example, we have a flat fee currently. That flat fee is if you're, change of use from one business to another that's got similar footprint, or it was the same fee if you were doing a 50-acre subdivision. So we figured out that there's a variance in the amount of work that goes into different scopes of site plan review. So they created a scaling method so that like this typical site plan review that most folks as community members would come and, if they're doing something at their home or at a residence, that wouldn't increase. But if you were putting in an industrial subdivision, for example, there would be a cost or something associated with that. You'll see also I outlined in these, if the fees were covered by regulations or bylaws or neither. So for example, site plan review is not covered by regulation or bylaw, so that can be changed by planning board vote. We posed an increase to say the scenic roads, which is the next one on the list. However, that is covered in a bylaw, so we'd have to go to a town meeting to make that change. So hopefully that does lay out not only the recommendations and the differences that are being reviewed, but also whether or not planning board can act on any specific things at this time, or if they'd have to take it to town meeting to make the change.
That's,
And also
that
remember,
doesn't seem like a very feasible thing. Because from time to time, things change and the planning board should be able to make what the fees are. I mean, bylaws tend to last longer. Granted, you can tweak your bylaws every year, but you've got to be able to catch that and warrant it before the meeting. And I don't know, it just seems like a lot of work to do that. So is it more than one bylaw that's affected?
So there's a couple of different things. So it's up to the planning board to consider. At this time, there are several items that can be just simply addressed by a planning board vote. And so you could just go down the line and vote to address those. Anything that has to go through, that is a bylaw revision, that's go through town meeting. That would be a concerted effort. Again, the planning board could choose to put that effort in at this time, or whether or not they want to follow that through at the moment. It's up to them and their discretion. This is just kind of the recommendations we had. So for example, to use one that's, again, right at the top of the list, the scenic roads, it's currently 150. We as the work group kind of had the proposal to range it to 175. However, that's a bylaw revision because it was specifically included in the language in the bylaw. And so the planning board could certainly continue to make that a priority to try and change that, but that would be a lot of workflow. And so it might be the kind of thing that we're like, oh, well, we'll do some revisiting on that one. It might not be the lowest hanging fruit at this time. So
how would we do that? I mean, I think as somebody who was sitting at town meeting and going to vote, I guess I would like to see all of this, and then we can have next to the ones that can be changed by planning board vote, we can just say approved by planning board on such and such a date. If we do that. I mean, I appreciate all the work you did, and I certainly agree with the work that you put into getting this recommendation to us. So,
well, I think this was what we thought would be appropriate. The ones that impact the zoning bylaw and require, town approval, let's just not act on them right now and do the others.
well, we can't act on them except for to recommend them. So the ones that are outlined by a bylaw, currently 300.
Those are the ones I'm saying we don't.
Yeah, but you didn't recommend an increase on all of them. You only recommended one of these was a bylaw, like a $25 increase in, I just saw it.
the $20 increase is the scenic road.
For the scenic road.
And then the other one that is town meeting is the ground mounted solar photovoltaic.
Oh, the solar one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That really has to be addressed.
Yeah, that confuses me because we just charge for site plan review for ground mounted solar. So why?
Fees not covered in regulation or bylaw can be changed by planning board, but that one is?
I think that one is outlined by the bylaw, the $300 filing fee for the
Right.
ground mounted, so we can't change that without a town meeting. So I think we just left that.
No
one.
proposed to be changed, however, language revision, applicant also responsible for legal notice postage and a butters list. So that would be a change to the bylaw to add that?
That could be added to the bylaw, that could be put on the application. Again, we kind of made recommendations without an expectation of them all being implemented. I mean, they're just recommendations that the board can think about. But yeah, just in the question so that according to the bylaw about ground mounted solar, there is an application for a permit that shall be accompanied by a fee of $300. And that is different than the site plan review.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's too bad. Yeah, so I did not see that. You guys didn't provide that text
What was that?
So.
See, the other thing
in the
was,
bylaw.
we proposed changing it's in several
This-
places where it says the application.
Yeah, this
filing
would go on
fee.
the application.
And
We
then-
can change that.
Yeah.
You can change that.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. Yes, it should be spelled out.
'Cause we
Yeah,
found-
that's something that the group thought, just simplify that language, make it a little more clear and accessible to everybody. Because it's worded differently in different iterations of regulations and bylaw, in some cases because, it was passed in the 80s or passed, 3 years
Yeah.
ago. So just standardizing and clarifying for folks.
So, it's whatever the board wants, but I would entertain a motion and see if you want to do this, to accept the report of the work group and that all of the recommendations that can be voted and changed by the planning board be changed. And those that cannot be, as well as like the changes to the application, okay, to make that, like, they didn't do a proposed change fee, but they asked that the application have that they were responsible for the legal notice and postage and a butters list, that kind of thing. That's on here. But excluding the recommendations that need to be voted by the town. And then I would like to see this presented at town meeting,
The zoning ones, changed ones.
the ones that are bylaw changes.
Right.
bylaw
And they
changes.
don't have to be, it doesn't have to be a lot of verbiage, it just,
But we already have some other topics that need to go to town meeting too. Right, not just the fees here. So it might be smart to collect them all and do them all. at once.
yeah, so can we have that on the list?
Sorry.
We're not gonna make,
Actually, we didn't make a recommend change to the ground mounted solar because it's $300 now. And I don't think we made any proposed change to that.
Is it $300 plus site plan review?
Just says, what does it say? It says. right
I can
now,
screen
that-
share the regulations if anyone wants to see them.
It just
I
says
haven't.
$300 for the ground mounted solar photovoltaic. $300, and then it says application filing fee. This is where we changed the wording because it's confusing, but it says public hearing also responsible for costs of mailing postage and legal ad to be determined at a later date, time. I can't read.
So that, yeah, that, I do see where it says fees.
But that's why we try to clarify what that meant, because I thought it was so confusing.
I think
That's very
I think-
confusing.
Laura's proposal is what we can act on tonight. And so there are only two zoning issues
It's only
we
two.
just will not vote on until we can get something out of the town meeting.
We can work with town council on that.
Right.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the fee revisions from the work group and present to us this evening that are within our power? And we all have a copy of them. I really think you did a great job. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Ian makes a motion, Robert second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? This only takes off the two
Mike has his
changes
hand
by
up.
the bylaw. Mike?
Yeah, I was just
Mike?
gonna say, the language in the motion, recommendation to, so a motion to approve the changes to the fees outlined in the recommendations, excluding, and then just mentioned excluding scenic roads and the ground mounted solar. That way it's just very clear in wording what the decision is.
That makes sense.
Those are the two items that are in a bylaw, so.
Scenic roads and the other one was
Is
the
the-
solar.
Just exclude scenic roads and
It's
the.
mounted solar photovoltaic, or whatever that word is, that I can't pronounce.
Okay.
Remember that.
Okay,
I'm having a hard time with that word.
all those in favor say aye.
Carol says yes.
Robert, aye.
Ian?
Ian Ortiz, aye. Yes.
Mike V? Mike V?
Mike Verosco, yes, sorry, my
Okay.
mute's not working.
Mark Schifrin, yes.
Thanks,
guys.
The form's gonna have to be up.
Appreciate your time
Oh,
doing
yeah,
that.
definitely. I'll make a note.
Madam Chair, who was the second on that motion? Just so I can write it down when I submit it to the clerk tomorrow.
Robert,
Robert, thank you. Just didn't get it. Thank you.
Ian and Robert. Did that. I'm gonna ask, it's almost 9 o'clock, guys. Is there anything else that we have to do on here? I mean, our planning board regulations, we can continue that if we have time on the 7th.
Yeah, because you have to make sure we get everyone's signature on that.
Oh, that's
So-
4-7. So
That's a real road.
this is Ashley. This is Kimberly Park, whatever it is, Alyssa.
Oh, that J thing, whatever.
Yeah, and we just need a majority.
But you have to,
Oh.
don't you have to sign in front of a notary? So,
Oh.
yeah, you can just explain to everybody how to do that. They have to actually sign in front of a notary.
Okay, so whoever can come in? Or
I'm gonna be leaving tomorrow,
Okay.
when?
and I won't be back until Saturday. I'm going to Maine.
Can they come to my office? I can notarize, no, right now.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
and then I
that's
can
fine.
bring this back to you.
Okay, that'd be great, yeah.
And Mike can stop and sign it tomorrow.
Okay.
And what about these plans? The three of us should sign those plans.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
for sure.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
Mike, can you be at town hall tomorrow to sign this Form J in front of town clerk
So just,
and these plans that we voted on tonight for the A&R?
Can you have two notaries though on that form, or does everybody have to sign in front of you? You know what I'm saying?
Will they accept this in 2 phases?
El router.
What?
Why can't Mike come to your office and sign too? You know what I mean, or does that not work? I'm just wondering if you can use the notary. For the group.
You'd have to have this again, and it has to be, the way I do it is you seal it and stamp it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they can sign in front of me and I can get the notary on it.
Okay.
And Mike is stopping at my office tomorrow anyway, so
Yeah.
I can notarize the 3 of them
Okay, perfect.
on this and bring it back to you.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you should.
I mean, I'm the notary, they're signing in front of me.
You should be doing all of it. Yeah. That would be
Good.
good.
so you want us to
That
sign?
works.
Sign all
Okay.
the way?
Why don't you have, yeah.
Should I put the day in? No, right?
Don't, just sign.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take care of everything else.
The trouble with this J thing, what if they don't get it? Or
It's just one
whatever,
document.
what if you don't get
It's-
this J thing?
It could be that if it's, is that the one for sale now?
It's sold now.
It's the lawyer.
It's a technicality,
Exactly.
and they're fixing it at the registry. So that, in other words, they found it in the title
Yes.
Oh,
and they want it cleared up. And that's what it is.
okay.
Yeah,
And
sorry, I wasn't here to answer that question when you guys discussed it. I dropped off for a few minutes.
well, we,
Okay, I was just curious.
I
never
understand
heard
it.
of
A
that.
subdivision needs to have lot releases. And sometimes they're overlooked and attorneys didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
And then some attorney down the line is gonna catch it, and then we have to go backtrack.
Oh, okay.
It was an interesting one because these things typically get closed out in the process. It's like the final stages before a roadway can be accepted as a public way through the typical process.
Yeah,
However, this specific one, it got submitted as a public, as a citizen's petition at a town meeting. And so kind of, that's the other pathway that this can sometimes happen, where a citizen just comes in and says, I want this at town meeting. They get the signatures to get a town meeting votes for it. It's just done. So there were a couple of little closeout steps that usually get wrapped up in a process that never get wrapped up because we never went through the process. So
I understand. When are you leaving, Mike?
my last day is actually Friday.
This coming
So
Friday?
What do we gotta do? Which?
Oh, well,
Does Lori have to
best
sign
wishes.
first? Does it
Thank
do-
you. It's really been a privilege to work with all of you. I've really enjoyed it. I'm so grateful for all the volunteers we have, but it's been really nice to make some good plans and lay some foundations and things like that. So I really appreciate the time that I've had to work with all of you. And there's going to be an official thank you letter email thing going out this week to all the boards and committees that I've worked with, because it's been a real privilege.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you for all that you did.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
It's been a real privilege to work with you, Mike.
What am I gonna do without you, Mike?
No, I have this.
Organic
Okay,
ink.
right here. Mike will sign it. I will notify you and bring it back to you.
Madam,
Put all my crap here.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I see Ian has dropped off. Was there a vote to close the meeting?
No, Mike dropped off.
Oh, sorry, Ian, Mike.
It is here. I will entertain a motion now to, what's this one?
Did you announce that or?
Let me not close yet. My God, I had a little emergency. In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, 5 and 11, the Townsend Planning Board will hold a public hearing October 24th at 6:45 PM at Memorial Hall to review I thought I did this. The proposed amendment to Townsend zoning bylaw being chapter 145 of the town code, article 9, entitled Special Provisions, section 54.1, entitled Age Restricted Development. Remote attendance is the law parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this proposed bylaw amendment may do so in writing prior to the hearing or at the hearing. Copies of the proposed bylaw are available in town hall upon request or email. Respectfully submitted, Laura Schifrin, Chairman. Okay. I really think I did this with you.
And then you don't have to read anything, but just maybe make that announcement for 4.1 for the public. Public can contact me if they want any information on that.
I did this.
You already did? Oh,
Yeah.
my apologies.
Yeah, no, I did this. I did stormwater. We didn't do notices from other towns.
Okay, that's fine.
Safe routes at schools. Carol, did you have a report?
No.
No. Public hearing scheduled
got
for
it,
zoning, and
I was out of the
Did
room,
that.
sorry.
okay, 4.6 request, and we just did, the J form. And application endorsement, and we did that.
Hi.
And we have our next meeting,
Okay, great.
which is the 24th.
Must have been when I stepped out. Perfect.
Okay. But we're still on record, so I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Carol makes the motion.
I second it.
Seconded. Okay, no, Ian seconded. Let's give it to Ian.
Okay.
And, vote, please, roll call vote.
Carol Fox says yes.
Robert Darian here.
He gets.
Ian Ortiz, yes.
and Laura Schifrin.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, everyone.